Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would really encourage those that might be following the debate to actually read what it is the Speaker's ruling stated. And I think it's very clear over the last number of years, we've actually seen a Prime Minister deal with this serious issue of international foreign interference. Whether it's legislation surrounding elections Manitoba from years ago, to the directive that the member just made reference to the legislation in regards to the registry, and so much more. Contrast that. Foreign interference not only happens around the world, and by more countries than just China, but this is something that's been happening since 2011, 2012, when his Prime Minister, Stephen Harper, did absolutely nothing, nada. Yet he has the tenacity to say that our Prime Minister hasn't done anything? That's a joke.
The honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, the record of this government has been an abysmal one. The member spoke of the May directive in 2023 to inform MPs. Why was that directive issued? It was after this Prime Minister and this government got caught not informing the member for Wellington Halton Hills. It was only then that all of a sudden they said, well, we're gonna issue this directive. We don't take any responsibility, of course, and it's about lessons learned, they always say. The member spoke about the Foreign Influence Registry. This is a Prime Minister that opposed a Foreign Influence Registry when the former member for Steveston-Richmond East introduced a private member's bill. And not only did the Prime Minister oppose the Foreign Influence Registry, based upon evidence that came at the Ethics Committee, the Prime Minister and the Liberal Party actually amplified Beijing's disinformation targeting the member for Steveston-Richmond East at the time, Kenny Chiu, that contributed to his defeat. In other words, the Prime Minister and the Liberals didn't just turn a blind eye or stand by as Beijing launched a disinformation campaign against Kenny Chiu. They actually amplified it and were therefore participants in it.
The honourable member from Northumberland, Peterborough South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. We heard earlier from the government member that there was not, in fact, a mistake made by the government. In fact, inferring in the fact that that the government was right not to tell this member and other members that they had their personal private emails potentially hacked by a foreign power. Does the member agree with that?
The honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister said that it was CSIS's fault, that CSIS hadn't prioritized it. This was the line that was used by the Minister of Public Safety as well with respect to the member for Wellington Halton Hills. And of course, we know that the government was briefed, the minister was briefed, the Prime Minister's department was briefed. Ultimately, responsibility fell on the Prime Minister and this government for why the member for Wellington Halton Hills had been kept in the dark. Similarly, in this instance, the government had the information. Just because it was passed on to House of Commons administration doesn't mean that at the end of the day, it's up to this government, to inform members. And further, I should note the other excuse that is offered is, well, it was unsuccessful. So therefore, it's no big deal. Members shouldn't know. Well, I think every member would like to know if they are being the target of a hostile foreign state like the PRC.
The honourable member from Churchill-Kiwatinuk, Aski.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're now at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'm just wondering, we've all acknowledged this is a serious matter, and PROC is the best placed body to deal with this matter. I'm hearing a lot of conservative talking points that we've heard before with respect to their position on China, with respect to we've heard tonight references to Israel, Iran. This seems to be a real show of political talking points from the Conservative Party. Would it not be in all of our best interest to have this dealt with by PROC as soon as possible? Will the member agree to send this matter to PROC as soon as possible so that we can actually move on this?
The honourable member from St. Albert, Edmonton.
Mr. Speaker, I'm the Vice Chair of the Procedure and House Affairs Committee, and we will deal with the matter when it is referred to us. But in the meantime, there is a debate in this House. It's important that we have this debate, and it's certainly important that every member that was targeted, every member that was impacted, have an opportunity to put on the record how this impacted them, and for them to make submissions in this House.